From about 1920 to the early 1960s, agriculture was a healthy, vibrant sector here on the Sunshine Coast. However, due to a variety of circumstances, farming began to wane in the late 1960s. The loss of farmland and food production continued to increase throughout the 1970s and 1980s to where we've currently reached a point where we're only growing locally enough food to feed some 1 to 2% of our local population. While we're facing many challenges, farming once again is starting to rise, and we're hoping for a successful, vibrant agricultural future. Around 1920, a lot of the farmers started realizing they were having an increasingly difficult time of making a go of it business-wise. They agreed to sort of cooperative to pool their resources and their skills and expenses. At the same time, they came up with the idea, they thought building a cannery to make jam would be a great idea. The cannery was built and started operating in 1921.
It was a wonderful cannery. Everyone I knew that are older than me worked there and grew raspberries and picked raspberries. Oh, everyone walked, they would bring their raspberries in from miles around for the cannery. Now these were tiny little raspberries, very sweet. And later, people caught on that they could buy a raspberry that was bigger, not near as tasty, but eventually people switched over to that vine so they could get more money. They have more weight for less work. But it was stunning jam.
Won a British Empire Award in 1923 for the best jam in the British Empire. And it was known, people were buying it all over BC. It was very well known. It wasn't just a bit of local jam, it was very, very popular.
And, oh no, they were thrilled to have that cannery and thrilled to have Malcolm's.
And do you remember sort of what caused its demise? What were the factors or reasons behind that?
A lot of stuff started being imported from Vancouver and other places, and people got tired of that kind of work and wanted more, and that was kind of the end of the cannery.
The House Sound Cooperative Cannery was a success for 30 years and is proof that large-scale agriculture is indeed possible here on the Sunshine Coast.
We're just on the last end of transplanting 1,400 blueberries. The intent of everything on this farm will be to help in the food security and food self-sufficiency growth on the Sunshine Coast. So my hope, my first intent is that every berry on here would be sold on the Sunshine Coast. It'll be fresh, frozen, jams, juice, and jellies, and any other value-added products that we can come up with. I mean, one of the biggest things about being a farmer is photons and chlorophyll. And look at today, I mean, it's full-on sun. So on the coast here, we have lots of sunshine when it matters, when we're in cycling of vegetables and fruits. I think the challenges are right now is just getting capacity built up amongst the 30,000 people that live here to understand why we're trying to develop a local food system, how that supports local economies, how money recycles within our economy. So I think the challenge is just building up that awareness and education to the consumers, who are definitely the biggest part of our challenge, is, you know, to eat our healthy, nutritious products.
I'm not sure why we haven't been able to figure out how to get the food from the fields to the stores to the consumer, but we just haven't been able to do it. So for us, we have to go out, you know, like for example, today we just got a delivery from Chilliwack, Soyuz, Richmond, a whole load, a truck came fresh from the farm to the store. That ideally to me would change, and that would come from the Sunshine Coast, but right now, for whatever reason, it's not able to happen. So demand is through the roof, absolutely. That's all everybody talks about, is it local? So
I garden or farm here with my mother-in-law, Beverly. She's been farming here for 20 years now, and I've been here, I think, for about 6 years. pretty much it's always been the same sort of market garden with, you know, as much variety as possible. We like to do a lot of plant starts so that we can get people gardening and growing stuff, because that's really exciting to see how many people are starting to do that. Both Bev and I have farm status, so we sell enough to be able to do that on, you know, an acre and a third between us. So, you know, I mean, with a lot of hard work and customer support, which has definitely been there, you know, I think it can be a viable thing for a young family. You know, land costs, of course, are high, so that's the main thing, I think, for someone to get started doing something like this, is to maybe get into some type of agreement or, you know, lease or something where you don't have a big land cost. My vision for agriculture, I guess, on the Sunshine Coast would be, I'd really like to see the support for people even in a smaller space to be producing food. You know, we all want food grown, we all want sustainability, but it's not the easiest thing to do unless I think you have a community behind you, making it so that they will support you. Maybe find a way of supporting people in small ventures to actually produce food, and yeah, give them some type of tax break or something so more people are going to do it.
So we currently have a contract with the Sunshine Coast Regional District to process up to 3,500 tons of green waste from the Sunshine Coast Regional District. And we take in about 2,500 tons of land clearing waste from local developers. And so we take it and grind it all up with a tub grinder, and we make a chip out of it, and we stockpile it and ready for composting. So a lot of our products that we make we make it from this compost. So we make a garden mix and a potting mix, and also a field mix, like a turf mix. This is the raw ingredient to all our products here at Salus Soils. We're producing right now about 5,000 yards a year. Beautiful stuff. This was one of the reasons that we started Salus Soils, is because of the possibilities with the land that's here. The possibilities were endless. I mean, when I was able to sit on this land and then look at the background, I mean, I see a vineyard, I see cows, I see field crops, berry crops, potatoes. I see a whole food system, all made up from composting. This is not a First Nations project. This is a whole community project. This project is for everybody.
I'm Jasmine Fitzsimmons, and I'm in my garden, and we're going to be talking about bees.
And about how many bees are in one hive there?
About 10,000. There's the queen, which is the biggest bee in the hive, and she lays all the eggs, and there's only one of her in the hive. And then there's the drone, which are boys, and they have big eyes to see the queen, and they mate, and then they don't live much longer after that. And there's the worker bees, which are all girls, and when they're first born, they take care of the queen and the brood, which is the babies. And when they get older, they go out and get nectar for the hive.
Now I see you have one here and some equipment. Do you want to just show us a little bit what this stuff does and how you would get the honey out and that?
Okay. So this is a frame where the bees would make the comb on, and then they'd put the honey inside and then cap it.
And how do you get the honey off? When you want to take the honey off, how would you do that?
So you'd get 4 of these and put it in an extractor, which is basically a round drum, which you would spin it, and it would draw the honey out of the comb onto the bottom, and then there would be this tap that you pull up and into a bucket, and then you'd strain it again and put it into jars, right?
Here, I understand you sell these eggs, do you?
Yeah, we sell them.
Do you sell them just to neighbors, to the farmers market? Who do you sell them to?
Well, whoever comes here usually to, and sometimes we sell them on the markets.
And how many chickens do you have, and how much eggs do they produce?
They don't produce that much now in the winter, but usually they produce in summer About almost a dozen a day, and then in winter now it's probably like 4 eggs a day sometimes.
And how long have you been doing this?
Probably we bought the farm, so I've been doing this for 3 years.
3 years, and you want to keep doing it when you get older?
Maybe.
Yeah, you'll see, decide then.
This is our bantam coop, and we have 10 bantams. We used to have a few more, but we reduced chickens because of the chicken feed costs, because we feed them all organic. And then the white one, the closest white one, is one has a hairdo, and she also went on posters, so her name is famous now. And then the bantams stop laying usually in the winter because they're more heritage breed. And then we also gave them leaves so it's not muddy for the winter on the ground. Here's also the 3 ducks.
We have planted 25 apple trees so far, and we are in the process of planting garlic. Our goal is to eventually get all the classes up here and plant a variety of crops so that the students can learn about farming and growing their own food.
Anyways, we got to talk about garlic, and I want to talk about other kinds of onions and leeks and various things first, because they're all related. When we want to plant this, you notice on these ones, there's roots at the bottom. Well, those are the old roots. Those are the last year's roots. So we get rid of those, and we end up with just a nice little clove of garlic, just like that. And that's what we put into the soil.
Well, I think most students, I don't want to say all, but I think most students learn better by hands-on and when they can physically do it. Are you girls having more fun today than you would be if we were to read a book in the classroom? So getting out there hands-on, getting their hands in the dirt and seeing how it actually works. If you read about how to plant garlic, you probably don't have a full understanding, but if you actually have the physical process of doing it, then you're going to understand how it works. And then they can go home and show their parents if their parents don't know how to do that. Look, Mom, look, Dad, this is how you plant garlic. And hopefully they'll carry that to their house as well.
There really is room to be positive and optimistic. For one thing, over the last few years, farms have re-emerged here in Henry Road. Brand new farms are being developed literally as we speak outside Langdale. There's been a recent resurgence in local farmers markets. The regional district is just wrapping up an agricultural plan, and a food policy council is just getting underway. But most importantly of all, there is becoming an increased awareness that growing, buying, and consuming food that is grown here on the Sunshine Coast is good for our health, our economy, and our environment.